That's what it is. You're right. I mixed up my movies here.
There were similar era. They probably came out within a year or two of each other.
Oh man, Daniel Day-Lewis, that dude crushes it. So back to Death Race. But if you want to vote on this, head to Movies, Films, and Flicks Facebook, like the page, and you will see our poll the day after this episode is released. So you want to hear something interesting, John?
Yes.
In this movie.
I was trying to think of something snarky to say, but
yeah. So Jason Statham, right? He had been an action star. Obviously, he had been in The Transporter, very good shape. He had been in other, I guess, movies where he was the action star. But when this movie came out, he cut himself down to 6% body fat. So he got incredibly lean in this movie. And so prior to this, yes, he had been in good shape, but he had never gotten to this shape. And Tyrese was on set with him in one of the behind the scenes videos, and Tyrese was making fun of him. He's like, when people see how ripped he is in this movie, he can't go back. He's like, he's going to have to be as ripped as he is. And people are going to see, you were that ripped in Death Race. You can't be that ripped in this movie? Like, you can't do it? What's the deal? Like, you get that ripped for Paul Anderson? You can't do it here? But he was making, so Tyrese was making fun of Jason Statham in this movie because he got so ripped. So, Jason Statham prepped for this movie by just doing pull-ups, chin-ups, push-ups. So he wanted to do a prison workout. That's how he prepped for this movie.
But Jason Statham has always been a very isometric workout guy.
Yeah. And
a body weight kind of workout guy, yeah.
But in this movie, he's just straight up six-packed. And he said he hated it because he just wanted cake and beer towards the end. And he just had to eat carrots and turkey and broccoli on set. He had no carbs. But yeah, so I thought they showed him eating on set and he was complaining about it for about 5 minutes. But I thought that was funny. Tyrese is like, they're not going to let him go back. I thought that was a good little gag. But he looks, I don't know, Paul Anderson wanted a wiry Charles Bronson, Steve McQueen guy, and I think Statham pulls that off in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anytime Statham's fighting somebody, you buy it. And then I have a question, though. So this is a prison who has billions of dollars, mass appeal, widespread. So they send out an Aryan guy to kill Jason Statham's wife so that he gets framed to go to this prison because he's a former NASCAR driver to take over for Frankenstein, who died because of Machine Gun Joe. Why could they not have just kidnapped his wife and just said, listen, we have your wife. You're going to drive these next few races. You're going to stay here. She will be safe. Here's proof, but you need to drive for us. Wouldn't that
if I'm the criminal, that's a big loose end. Yeah, and then I have to trust that no matter how much I can threaten them and they can fear for their lives, I have to trust that they won't even accidentally let something out.
Yeah, I got you. So you're thinking.
So I see your point, but it's like it lends itself to the comfort in the sinister behavior of Joan Ellen.
Got it.
She's so comfortable doing that, But yeah, it's like I see what you mean. But again, I think too many loose ends.
Why did Pachenko come up and try to fight him the first day? So he knows why he's there. Why is he trying to start a fight when he was brought in to do this?
I think he's just a crappy person.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, you can't trust that guy.
He agreed to do this, and I have a feeling that no release papers were involved. I think he just agreed to do this so he could go do something fun and mean. Maybe he got some little privilege.
Oh, yeah, good point. Oh, I got to tell you something before I forget. So Paul Anderson on the commentary was telling Jeremy Bolt, who is producer on all of them. Jeremy Bolt's based pretty much on all the commentaries, too. But in this movie, Machine Gun Joe, Pachenko, 14K, Paul Anderson didn't want to direct all the extras. So he said, all right, Tyrese, all right, guys, you're the gang leader. You direct your extras who are with you.
Oh, that's cool.
So, but the funny thing is, so the producer Jeremy Bolt was like, that's a really smart idea, Paul. But then Paul goes, well, not really. And we didn't tell you this. But when Tyrese started directing all of his people and Pachenko started directing all his people, all of their scenes, they had to have their people. So that costs us more money. Because if we just had a scene with Machine Gun Joe and Gunner or Jensen, then that's the two of them. But Machine Gun Joe always wanted Entourage with him. So Tyrese became really tight with his on-screen gang, and then they had to show up more in the movie, and that got them paid more. And then the producer, Jeremy Bolt's like, well, crap. He was he's like, how much money did we pay these guys for this. But I think that's a fun idea. He just got the head of the gangs to direct his actors. I thought that was cool.
I think that's cool too because it gives different personalities to them more naturally, right?
It was just a funny idea. What did you think about Machine Gun Joe in this?
I thought that this was Tyrese Gibson's least interesting character ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like the character isn't really interesting. But then again, Pachenko isn't interesting. Like a couple of these characters are just they're more devices than characters, right? But I even thought that he did as well as he could have with his material, but his performance does not resonate. It doesn't stick to you. But it just seemed a little, I don't know. I don't know if the word's basic, simple.
Blah. I guess there's not much on the page for him to do, right? But you watch Baby Boy, and you can see that the dude can act. You watch.
Oh, I love Baby Boy. Yeah.
I watched Black and Blue recently. You can see he can act. In the Fast movies, the dude can act.
All his Fast movies, yeah.
So he's just a ball of fun. Paul Anderson loves having it on set. He's the coolest dude you ever meet. But
that's the other thing. This is the one. Even in Baby Boy, even though that wasn't at all a funny movie, he whines about things. He gets in situations that are dangerous in Baby Boy, right? They feel more lethal than the Fast movies because they're going to live, right? But in Baby Boy, he gets into some serious trouble, like some crime-like trouble, and but when he whines about it, every now and then you get a couple laughs out of some things. When he's running away from getting his ass whipped, you get some laughs. There is not a laugh to be had until he's basically threatening the life of the person sitting next to him in the car.
Yeah, he kicks that guy out and kills him, and then
that was funny to me. Boom, he just hits some pile on. But yeah, he doesn't get a lot. They totally had him not being the kind of roles that we know he's good at.
Do you think that's maybe why he took it? He wanted to play something different.
The movie's not
about him, right? I guess the movie quite isn't about him.
So I have a feeling that he took it more because it's one of the higher build characters in a movie with a whole lot of characters.
One of my favorite things, though, is when his crew just shoves that guy into his car and the guy's trying to fight.
Right, he's trying to get out. Yeah.
Then they lock him in there. So in this movie...
Don't disappoint me.
In the beginning of the film, let's see, Frankenstein kills his co-driver when he lets go of the big shield behind him. And then one of his drivers gets blown up by a rocket, or passengers gets blown up by a rocket. He kicks the other one out. Man, he loses these things pretty... That driver, though, that he has in the beginning, not in the beginning, in the second race was Statham. That guy's not very good. Oh, he has a shield up there. Oh, I was wrong. That guy wasn't 100%, was he?
No. But again, he had never done this before.
He did not want to be there.
But also, he did not seem very invested. He didn't seem to care about them. Yeah, sorry, I guess it was already taken.
Yeah, they kicks him out of the car.
And kills him.
Oh, man, that thunk is so perfect. Oh, jeez Louise. All right, so hey, let's do something real quick. Let's take a quick break, and then we come back. We will talk more Death Race. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. John, do you want to know why the cinematographer, the director of photography, Scott Kevin, got the job for this film? Do you want to know why?
Was it something he did with Paul W.S. Anderson before?
So he actually shot the movie Stomp the Yard. And so he shot this movie Stomp the Yard. And before it, he had shot Cabin Fever. He had done a couple other films, A Bug, which is a bonkers film. So he came from a horror background. But Paul W.S. Anderson watched Stomp the Yard, and he loved how aggressively he filmed the dance scenes. Because in Stomp the Yard, the dance scenes are very...
I love it. It's energizing.
Yeah, they film like an action scene. Like dancing films like action. So Paul W.S. Anderson I'm telling you, dude, this guy's smart. And I hate how many people crap on Paul W.S. Anderson. But he's like, if he can film a dance scene and make it look like an action scene, what can he do with our races? Because we want to do something different. So he brought in this guy to shoot this film because he loved the way he shot dancing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it makes me very happy. And also, the production designer, he worked on this movie, and then he went and worked on Three Musketeers. He's actually worked on 3 movies with Paul Anderson. So he went and did Three Musketeers. He did Pompeii. Paul Anderson loves him. But So he's done 2 movies that I think have amazing production design. He won an Oscar for The Shape of Water, which $20 million movie, and that's another fun episode of ours. $20 million movie, and the production design's beautiful. I mean, it's a beautifully designed film. And he also did 30 Days of Night. He built an entire Alaskan town in New Zealand and built all the sets and made it look like an Alaskan town. I mean, that's a very beautiful film to look at. So this guy is now an Oscar winner, but I think he'd been working a lot before this as well. But I loved his work on Death Race because, all the guys who built the cars, all the sets, I think they really built a strong thing. And also, it's funny, to save money, they just ordered all the outfits for the guys were ordered from prison wholesalers. So all the outfits that they wear were from prison stuff. They went really cheap on some aspects. But I love the production design on this movie. And like you said, I think there's a certain timeless appeal to it because they just, I don't know, it's very analog, very nuts and bolts.
Yeah, I really thought that watching this for our episode was, I knew I'd still like it. I knew that. It's a Jason Statham movie, right? I'm always going to like it. But I did not think I would still love it. You know what I mean? Instead of loving how much I liked it.
It's funny. That's funny. I like that you said that because there's movies I know that aren't good, but I love them. I think this movie is 42% Rotten Tomatoes. It's the second highest rated movie, which makes me sad. 47% is Mortal Kombat.
Resident Evil 1?
No, I'm sorry. Mortal Kombat has 47%. No, Resident Evil 1's below that.
God.
So I don't think people...
And Event Horizon is still below 50?
Below that, yeah. And, James Cameron was just sticking up for AVP, and James Cameron loves the first Resident Evil, which makes me happy. But this is a movie, I don't know. What I like, though, is it's 100 minutes, very, very simple story, good actors, practical effects. Just gets it done. It's fun. And I think it gets its own humor, too. The scenes where the ladies are getting off the bus, they get that humor. So I kind of dig that. The one thing that I liked about the original Death Race, it was 2 women drivers, 2 men drivers. But I guess you can't do that in a maximum security prison with dudes. You can't bring in, I guess that's the one thing, but other than that, this is a good film. It's a good action film. It's good to put on, watch. It's funny. Megan was watching this in the background, and she went, "I like this movie." She just started. Have you ever background watched a film and then you realize, "I like this," and then you just watch it? Has that happened to you? That happened to her, and it was fun. It was fun to do.
That was actually what happened to me with She's Just Not That Into You.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Or no, not that one. I'm sorry. She's Out of My League. I never thought I'd like that movie, and one day I was folding laundry and I put it on 20 minutes deep, and I watched 10 minutes of it, and after just 10 minutes, folding laundry though, not really paying close attention, I immediately changed the channel, went in the guide function to see when it was playing next so that I could watch it later that day.
Is that the one? That's the one with T.J. Miller in a Hall & Oates cover band, right?
It's Jay
Baruchel.
The star is Jay Baruchel, yeah.
And Alice Eve. Yeah, that's fun. Yes. And Kristen Ritter's in it too, being sassy.
I thought that movie was way better than, I don't know if I want to say than it deserved to be, but way better than I absolutely expected it to be. But yeah, that was one of those where you just this is really working. Yeah. So some of the things that really worked for me, by the way, is that, a movie like this, you don't expect this to be like your Rush, like your Driven, like your Days of Thunder, where there's such good vibing chemistry between you and your head guy, you and your manager, if you will, like Coach, you and your pit crew. You don't expect to have good symmetry between the bad guy and the bad guy's henchmen. They had a good relationship, right? You don't expect to have a lot of minor characters do things that are funny that you also think were done well, like Grimm reacting to the warden in the prison yard and all of his apotheosizing her. Again, the dynamics between Joe and his history with his navigators, if you will. There are a lot of good, really rich relationships in this, and that really pushes this higher than I think people realize that a movie called Death Race with Jason Statham starring would be.
I love when Liss tells Statham to go get some sleep, and then Gunner comes in, played by Jacob Vargas, who I love in Devil, He's like, good. I'm glad you got him out of here. He's terrible at welding.